where he's talking about against activities that have been financed by GOK, the projects that have been financed. Border management is one of them. And as you can see, they requested for 160 million, but nothing has been allocated. So I tend to question, because Turkana County borders 3 international countries, one being Uganda, the other one being Ethiopia and South Sudan. And in these borders, there are a lot of things that are happening in this particular border. There is influx of illicit firearms. There is influx of illicit alcohol. There is influx of bank and related drugs. So how will you be able to manage this border if you don't allocate resources? That is my question. And this is related to these firearms influx as well, which has not been accounted in this presentation. Thank you.
What was the other one? I think is a senior counsel. Then they respond. Then
yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, I need to know to what extent rehabilitation centers have been developed across the country, and whether we have institutions like what we oversighted in Mombasa, particularly towards Nyanza. It would be very good. I have a boy I'm struggling with. I'll be speaking with you later in terms of how these institutions can be in Central, Nairobi, Nyanza, Western, and if they are provided for, I would be very keen to see in the policy for later estimates. Number 2, Chair, I'm very happy that the confidential, vote item is in the BPS. And I think let us always be realistic. Budgeting is the function of Parliament. That budget line is very critical. It is not there. If it is not there, it must be reinstated.
Just point of correction, Senior Counsel. It's not there. They had requested, they indicated they have requested, but not granted. So it's good to be on record. Unless you're in a house that allocate fund.
Yes,
your discretion.
Chair, the point I've made is that it is good it is not there, but the power to put it is ours, and I'll be moving the committee later on, Chair, when we are alone, to ensure it is there. Chair, then there are various agencies we had proposed that we go the A direction. This was Firearms Licensing Board. I think even PBO, private security, which other one was that? A number of them. We wanted to hear in terms of the policy how you would want, I remember there was also immigration, that will come later, how we would want to actionize that in terms of the estimates, later on. But lastly, Chair, this NCEC, unless we are properly persuaded it is an agency we should delete from the BPS, and therefore delete any future consideration for funding. Chair, this is an agency that, despite meetings after meetings, is not doing something useful. You remember, Chair, when this House was sitting over the impeachment of a Kenyan a short while ago, the chair of NCIC came to the media to say, Parliament discharging that constitutional role would plunge the country into chaos. This single individual, even after impeachment, is inciting chaos in the country all over, and you hear nothing out of NCIC. When they came out sporadically, it is nothing helping cohesion in the country. So, Chair, I'm waiting to hear in greater detail the reason as to why it is proposed we should be, having a policy targeting monies to NCIC, or rather would be persuading the committee later on that we take action to delete that thing called NCIC from our law books. I thank you, Chair.
So, Anne, it's your turn to respond. Then we go to the last round. You have got like maximum 7 or 8 minutes to respond to these ones, because we wish we should be finishing in the next 15 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. I think on the first concerns on policy, policy that should drive resources, we have taken note that the state departments, especially the ones that were mentioned, NCIC and Coast Guard, will revisit. We'll need to, as guided, we'll need to sit again and look at the details, the finer details, which will inform the department, Parliament, on how to support. And
still at that.
Yes.
Maybe before even we talk about setting up a headquarters of 80 million, why don't you look some resources to enable you increase your presence, at least in the most critical water and ocean, like the Turkana. Are you in Migingo? The very critical one for the Kenyan security. Maybe we need to have a session, but Kisumu, you can at least, you may not need much, a few boats maybe, and a little bit of personnel. Yeah.
We're doing that, Chair.
Chair,
maybe, Chairman, I want to quickly add a rider here. The reason why I'm concerned with policy is when you are coming up with a new institution, the first thought is, where will it be based? Let alone anything. How many personnel, equipments, and all that. Where is it going to be based? Whether it is in a small house or a big house, it really does not matter. So that is why this institution, however we criticize them of performance or underperformance, the whole problem lies in the policy, that the genesis of the policy that brought them to be. Without that, then we'll just be criticizing and making complaints about institutions, which we should not. And that is why it is important for us to do a housekeeping, so that public funds are placed where they are going to be utilized effectively for public service. Thank you, Chair.
We're sorry for disruption, but it's a lot of interest in the Coast Guards. Yeah.
So I think the next one is on on administrative units. I'll invite I think it's okay now. It's working now. It's okay now. Yeah, I'll invite SNA to take us through the administrative unit's concerns.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The National Government Coordination Act, Section 14(1), grants the Cabinet Secretary at the time in charge of the ministry to create administrative units in consultation with His Excellency the President. I concur with the members that this is an area that we need to have a serious conversation. At the moment, we have 14,529 existing administrative units, right from the regions to the sublocations. Honorable Chair, currently, to date, we have a total of 3,377 gazetted administrative units from sub-counties to sublocations. Honorable Chair, out of this, we have prioritized to operationalize 1,000 105 as follows: 8 sub-counties, 24 sub-counties, 88 divisions, 318 locations, and 675 sub-locations. And Honorable Chair, the number that we still have proposed that are in our office and the number that gazetted altogether is 5,002. So, sir, with an allocation of 500, we should be able to operationalize the 1,105. In addition to that, sir, over time, and the
clear on that one.
Yes, please.
You say, apart from the 2488, whatever, already listed for
14,000,
operationalization,
yes, sir.
how much still will be pending for operationalization that has been already gazetted? All put together cumulatively.
About 1,600.
1,600?
Yes, sir.
With no court cases? If maybe the minimal.
With no court cases.
Okay, what is the budget needed to operationalize anything that has been gazetted?
Sir, 1.5 B.
And how much is it been allocated in the BPS?
So we've been allocated 666 for all the units.
Shortfall is about, what, 900 million?
Shortfall size 1.5 B. We require
shortfall is 1.5.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chair, I think the policy here is just like you were saying, don't gazette anymore until we are able to operationalize what has been gazetted. But you see, they still keep on gazetting, and not operationalizing, and therefore getting into the deep.
I think I want to rule on that one because I told you it's a more detailed.
Yes, sir.
Need a more detailed discussion. Next week, what is the Secretariat? Write a letter to the CS together with his team. We want to see them next Thursday.
Thank you, sir.
So that we discuss this issue of units, the policy, into this conclusion. Yeah.
Yes,
is that okay, members?
Yes,
and
sir.
we want the CS himself,
Okay, sir.
plus the PS and your team.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We have come up with a draft policy,
Okay.
the same which we'll be able to discuss with you.
So, clerk, write a letter today, dispatch it to this, and maybe if time will allow, we can still combine it with the issue of PISRA, so that the CS and the PS can address them all together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have ruled, and we agree with you on that. But the question here is, if you prioritize maybe some 1,000 something and you leave the others, and these areas have been waiting for long. I think it will not be fair.
Just because we are seeing them on that day, that is why the reason we are allocating them time so that we can exhaust all those issues and concern. I think, members, that is the best way to go. Yeah, 10 minutes, she may not do justice to what you really want to know and what Kenyans want to know. So kindly keep that one, and Thursday we can able to discuss in depth. Just note that, and do also in our communication to the committee, and make sure it does not collide with the liaison and the budget things. So I think we can spare and discuss that one on Thursday.
Thank you, sir. Most obliged.
So anything to do with the units, kindly let's reserve it for Thursday. Okay. Are we exhausted the question? Not really. No. I think we have not. Let's fast the first bunch. Anne, still have some questions pending?
Yes, there was an
Unless
issue
anything to do with the units, we leave it for Thursday. We spare it for Thursday.
Okay. On security operations, what is again the policy that the ministry the ministry holds resources, and yet the operations are carried out by the National Police. I think the resources that the ministry holds really is facilitative, to facilitate or to coordinate those operations. And we want to believe that National Police Service gets sufficient resources also. I know they'll be here, they have been, to carry out the operations. Again, on policy, it's not policy, but reforms. Police reforms. I think that is where we have the funding allocated to the ministry. Not so much the operation. The operation would be coordinative under the security infrastructure, the security committees. I hope I got the question right, but because it's policy, again, we'll note it and include it in the meeting that you'll call with the CS.
I think it's good you have a clear understanding of that point.
Yes, sir.
What we are saying is that in security operations, your policy must lay bare who does what.
Okay.
So that those men and women who are on boots, who are on the ground, they should not suffer anything because of how resources are shared. And that is the bottom line of what this committee is asking of you. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. The concern that was raised by Member Honorable Sigei to include Lake Turkana, I think that is directed to Kenya Coast Guard. If they can, maybe you can clarify, CEO.
Thank you, Chair, again. The question from Ambassador on Lake Turkana incident, we are aware about it. Even right now, the CS and the top team from Nairobi is in Turkana right now to address it. And this part of that cycle of violence within that lake between the communities of Turkana and Tassanaj. And from our point of view, in terms of Kenya Coast Guard Service, we have one station towards the south of the lake, which is very far away from the north. And we have plans to establish a new station at Ileret. We've been there several times. We've consulted with the locals, who are again happy about the arrangements. They have given us 3 acres of land, and right now in the process of progressing to build a new station there. But again, it all comes down to the issues of resources. Since inception up to date, we've been operating on a zero budget on capital expenditure. This year we requested for around 1.6, including, which includes the headquarters, plus the stations, and maybe some kind of repairs to the boats. But you've only been given 100 million. So it's now the problem where it is. That you really want to expand and build more stations on our lakes and even on the sea, but then it comes back to the problem of resources.
CEO, do you have enough boats to man our lakes and oceans?
We don't have. A
crucial one.
No, we don't have.
Because you're so much presuming into the issue of headquarters, which we have noted. And I'd ask you, how much, okay, you're talking about refurbishment, how much is it to buy a standard boat, like the ones we saw in Lamu? I think they were donated by, I don't know which partners.
Good boats fit for purpose, they'll go for around between 10 to 20 million shillings, depending on the requirement and the detailed requirements. When you talk about now the offshore, that's in the billions of shillings.
Do this, through your team leader. Maybe you can later do a little bit of a small write-up, possibly. Maybe when we come to supplementary or real estimate, maybe roughly besides the headquarters, how much do you need to increase your presence in the most crucial water bodies? Lake Turkana, Kisumu, which other ones? Baringo. And those most troubled ones, yes. Like Turkana is becoming a nightmare. Then what do you need in terms of personnel? So what do you need in terms of equipment to do the boat? Maybe when we come to estimates or supplementary, this committee can see whether it can consider doing something.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Maybe tell us, why do you need boats on Lake Baringo?
Lake Baringo, we have so much of transport issues on the lake, and we do so much of what we call search and rescue operations on it. So we only have one boat, which is small again, and all the time we are having issues with the kids crossing, going to school, assisting them on their daily transport. So we need around at least 2 good boats for the lake.
Have in Lamu?
Lamu, we have around 3.
3.
But only one is fit for purpose. The others are still small.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Because really the purpose of having Coast Guard is to do policing on brown waters or within the 12 nautical miles. But if we are going to try to spread thin in non-inland waters, say somebody says we need it on Naivasha, but when you look at Lake Turkana or Lake Victoria, we are looking at even extension concerns which must be addressed. So for that reason, it's also good, like the chairman is asking, put us in a picture that this is to address threats, this is to address service to the people of Kenya, so that we can lay our priorities correctly. Thank you.
Well guided, Chair.
So, we are going to take the last bunch. I'm sure we are a bit behind, but let's be to the point. Anybody else? So we turn Liz, Chelule, and Kangara, then we close. 1 minute each.
Thank you, Chair. My first question is directed to...
We leave the issue of units, so that once they come, we can address.
We will wait that one until Thursday. My first question is directed to Nakada, CEO. Are you aware that as much as you maybe fight this drug menace in the other parts of the country, the northern part, that is Moyale, Wajir, Mandera, that side, there are dangerous drugs that come from Ethiopian side, and it is now very hard for us to control our youth. What are you really planning to do in those areas? The other question is directed to the CEO, NGO board. I had them, maybe you said they changed the name. I've had another name today. So anyway, NGO board.
Is that new act?
You know, there are more than 100, I think more than 100 NGOs in my constituency alone. I really don't know what they do. Maybe 2, 3 do some activities in my constituency and the county. But there are so many briefcase NGOs. They get a lot of money. You know, they create wealth, but they don't assist the communities that they are supposed to assist. What are you going to do to make sure that people don't just benefit themselves out of the funds they get?
Thank you, Chair. I'm concerned about one particular sensitive matter, and this is about cyber. And unfortunately, when it was being presented, had just stepped out. Chair, I hope we all understand the problems that we are going through, especially the VIPs. And I don't think life is so precious, and it belongs to God. So for anybody to be predicting about the life of an individual through TikTok, I don't know whether, Chair, whether the cyber thing that has been mentioned in this report is concerned about this. I would really want to hear whether they are also concerned about what is happening through, do I call it social media or what? I don't know, but it is related